The night before. I feel so out of place here. Despite your clear hatred for the nobility, you found yourself at a party filled with aristocrats. You hardly recognize anyone, but many of the people here clearly recognize you. You're used to receiving dirty looks from the upper class, but you can literally feel everyone's disdain for you. Why are you in the corner by yourself? I can't believe I let you talk me into coming here. For reasons unknown, you lose your train of thought. That's the reason, in case you're wondering. I've been wanting to wear this dress for a while now. What do you think? What's wrong? You suddenly feel extremely flustered. It's difficult to make eye contact with her. Oh, I see. Are you enchanted by my beauty? Come on, say something. Ever since that night in Ornax, you felt like something has been off between you two. Am I interrupting something? Miss Timora. I wanted to check in on you two before we went to meet with Lord Freyga. You spot a woman silently following behind her. Is she the client that Miss Timora is representing? You're pretty sure this is your first time meeting her, but she still looks familiar for some reason. Hi, I'm Tyrion Cuthbert. I'm Miss Timora's ward. You extend out your hand to shake hers. She has an aristocratic air to her, so you hope you're not being too informal. Instead of taking your hand, she claps her hands together and takes a deep breath. What? Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It's a bit of a habit of mine. Oh. Nevertheless, she finally shakes your hand. I've heard much about you, Mr. Cuthbert. My name is Beatrice. You're not sure about the details, but your mentor appears to be brokering a deal between Beatrice and William Freyga. William Freyga is the ruling lord of House Freyga, so you're a little curious about what kind of deal he'd be involved in. But you've learned not to pry into your mentor's business. Anyways, we'll probably be gone for a while. Can I trust you two not to cause trouble? You're in a manor filled with the highest members of the nobility. You might meet some familiar yet unfriendly faces. We'll keep a low profile, Miss Timora. Please do. So, why were you so insistent on accompanying Miss Timora to the Lord's ball? That's shock. You know you can tell me anything, right? Happiness? I guess everything that happened in Ornax made me think about things. I don't really know anything about my past or where it came from. I didn't want to think about it because of my dad and mom, but you wanted to find out who your biological parents are. I do, but I don't know how. I don't know now, I think that said. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be I don't know how. Being here is starting to make me feel weird. I still have my mom, and looking for my birth parents feels wrong somehow. I don't think that's true. Really? Miss Timora adopted me when I was a child, and she gave me a purpose in life. But I still keep my childhood memories of my mother close to me. Miss Timora and my mother are both important to me. I don't think it's disrespectful to find out more about yourself, and I'm sure your mother will understand. You think so? Of course. And I'm also sure of another thing. If I'm with you, I doubt any of the nobles here will want to speak with you. Yeah, I didn't want to be rude, but don't worry, I can find something to fill the time. You're just going to play chess alone, aren't you? Maybe. You really need to learn to talk to other people. Make some new friends or something. I don't need more friends. I usually want to spend most of my time with you anyways. I'm gonna try to talk to some people. Yeah, I'll see you later. Celeste leaves to mingle with some of the other partygoers. You find yourself with very little to do, and you doubt anyone would want to engage in small talk from the likes of you. Your hand instinctively goes to your satchel. It contains your foldable chessboard. Well, it's not as if I have anything better to do. I should try to find an empty table to play on. Each table has a centerpiece of flowers on it. Most of the seats at the tables are filled. It doesn't look like you'll be able to play here. Several gold-tinted chandeliers hang from the ceiling of the ballroom. They look fancy enough to be worth a small fortune. It irks you a little to see how much wealth Lord Freyga must be hoarding to afford all this. guess that's it for this place. This place looks pretty quiet, but there aren't any tables anywhere. Well, I could play on the floor. What the? While walking through the hallways, you suddenly find yourself face to face with a large wolf. Immediately upon seeing you, the wolf quickly gallops away. Did someone leave a door open? You think about telling someone, but you remember that the manor is full of nobles. You're sure a servant will spot it eventually, and it's not if anyone will believe you anyways. But it'd probably be best to find somewhere else to play. There are several jewels mounted onto the wall, and they all look equidistant from each other. You already knew that House Frege is wealthy, but embedding jewels into the walls makes the place look pretty tacky. They even have gold-tinted chandeliers in the hallways. It's ridiculous when you really think about it. Oh, so you can't examine the door or anything. You look further around the manor and find a room with several displays. It looks like a gallery of some sort, but it's slightly out of place here. There are a few nobles in the room, and they're all silently appreciating the exhibits. Perhaps Lord Frege paid a museum to create some historical displays for the Lord's Ball. Now there's a face I haven't seen before. As you take a closer look at one of the exhibits, an old man approaches you. Is that a monkey on his back? Hello, my name is Harold Haroldson. I'm the curator of this collection. Harold Haroldson? Is that a pseudonym or something? No. I see. Wait, he's a museum curator. He must be extremely knowledgeable about Wyverngarde's history. You wonder, would you happen to know anything about the ancient dragons? Ah, like the skilled Lord Rothalion? There are many pieces in this gallery, and some of them were items that were wielded by the 7 heroes of Wyverngarde. Legends say that some of these items were directly enchanted by Rothalion himself. Enchanted by Rothalion? Would that mean that they also don't follow the rules of magic? Perhaps you should examine these items more closely. It's a pair of metallic armbands. There are several magical runes carved into them. Those are the armbands of intellect. They were actually created by a member of House Frege many centuries ago. Centuries? That would make these armbands one of the first creations of artificery. That's correct. Legends say that whoever wore these armbands would be granted unparalleled levels of intellect. Many believe that House Frege created these to aid them in their study of magic. So that's added to her inventory? It's a painting of some sort of scientist. That man is Dr. Luke Kupfer. He was an alchemist and inventor from one of the branch families. He is well known for his studies in imbuing intelligence into automatons. Intelligent automatons? Would that make them similar to arcane constructs? Yes, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Lord Von Sanctus used Dr. Kupfer's research to create those constructs. So in essence, Von Sanctus is taking credit for someone else's work. It's a painting of a researcher. That is Professor Matt Furland. He was a professor of some renown. He was a researcher of combinatorial magic theory. What's that? It's the study of how different types of magic interact with each other. He famously ran an experiment on what would happen if 2 anti-magic fields overlapped each other. That's actually pretty interesting. What were the results of the experiment? Well, they had mages enter the space where the 2 fields overlapped. Turns out that those mages were able to use their magic in that space. Wait, how would that be possible? They would have had 2 anti-magic fields affecting them. When the 2 fields overlapped, they canceled each other out. I've heard that it's akin to multiplying 2 negative numbers together. So, I wouldn't quite say that's an accurate summary. I'd say it's like adding a number to its negative. That would be more accurate, I'd say, because if you're multiplying negatives, you could still increase, unless it's -1. It's a crimson-red short sword. That's the sword of spell eating. Legends say that it has the power to protect its wielder from any kind of magic. So it's like an anti-magic field. In a way, yes, but it has less than heroic origins, I'm afraid. It's said that this sword was created through a blood pact between a mage and a demon. A demon? Legends say that some demons had the power to absorb and nullify magic. A demon must have imbued some of that power into the sword. Or at least, that's what the legends say. So, they tell you everything we already know about the sword. Is it safe to put something like this on display? What if the legends are true? Don't worry, these displays are fortified with several abjuration spells. I'd bet even Lord Steelman would have trouble getting into this. So we now know about the security system. And before I click on the last one, I just want to make sure we got everything here. It's a pair of golden earrings. There are small jewels embedded into each of them. Those are the earrings of vitality. It's said that the Scaled Lord imbued a portion of his immortality into these. Legends say that whoever wore them would have their lifespan increased tenfold. The Scaled Lord could do things like that? Of course! He is the Scaled Lord, after all. Earrings of vitality? Are there any spells that can create a similar effect to these earrings? Not that I know of. A spell like that would probably fall under the school of necromancy. And I'm sure you know how much the kingdom scrutinizes that type of magic. So what is the historian doing at the Lord's Ball, Mr. Haroldson? Right, Harold. Anyways, Lord Frege invites my museum to set up some displays here every year. He must think it adds a semblance of culture, the fool. You own a museum. Yes, it's the Haroldson Hall of History, located in the city of Homerith? That's a mouthful. Unfortunately, I don't think us guests appreciate the historical significance of these items. Honestly, I think you're the only person in years who's taken a meaningful interest in them. Sorry, but I really have to ask, is that a monkey riding on your back? Yes, this is my familiar, Eugene. Your familiar. A familiar is a creature that a mage has formed a magical bond with. With that bond, our souls are forever connected. I can communicate with him telepathically. I can even cast my spells through him if I wanted to. Really? I never knew a spell like that existed. It's quite rare. Very few mages take the time to learn how to cast it. So now we know about familial bond. Reterum? Indefinite duration, wow. Forms unbreakable bond with the target creature, connecting them to the caster's magic. The caster can telepathically communicate with the target over any distance, can choose to see through the eyes as long as they concentrate. The caster can also cast spells from the location of the target creature instead of their own location. Bond can only be broken in death. And they can't create any other bonds, I forgot to mention there. Eugene helps me with my day-to-day. These old bones aren't as spry as they used to be, after all. Harold. Harold, as a historian, do you have a lot of knowledge about the ancient dragons? The answer to that question is somewhat complicated. What do you mean? Unfortunately, a lot of historical texts in my collection have been altered or even outright destroyed by the Church of Bahamut. Because of that, it's quite difficult to separate myths from actual historical accounts. Right, I remember encountering a similar problem at the Imperial Academy. Ah, you must be quite dedicated to your studies. They let this simpleton into the Imperial Academy? And you can see we've quickly fallen out of grace. Rude, but you suppose that can't be helped? I had to fight the church for a long time before I could even display dragon bones in my museum. In the history of the ancient dragons, was there any instance of them granting powers to humans? Had to go quiet there since I shifted position. Well, of course, that's the premise behind the 7 Heroes of Wyverngard. Does this idiot not even know about that? Right. But was there anything before that? Did they ever grant supernatural abilities that didn't follow the rules of arcane magic? Granting supernatural abilities, you say? Sounds more like something demonic in nature rather than draconic. Demonic? Much like the ancient dragons, demons are the stuff of myths. There are many stories of people selling their souls to them for untold power. Selling their souls? You recall the note that your mother left for you before she was executed. Use my eyes. Peer beyond the divine gate as I once did. She told you to use her eyes. Did your mother make a deal with a demon to give you the Eye of Horus? Is something wrong? This simpleton is far too superstitious. No, nothing's wrong. It's a bit too much to take in, but you might just be overthinking this. There haven't been any recorded sightings of demons in recent history. There are only secondhand stories and superstitions. The Eye of Horus can't possibly be demonic, can it? You hope Celeste's investigations is going better than yours. How dare you insinuate that I engaged in an adulterous relationship? That's not what I... Enough. If you try to speak with me again, I'll have the King's Guard throw you out. This isn't working. I don't think asking them like that will be very effective. What? Did you expect anyone here to be truthful with you? You're essentially asking them if they cheated on their spouses. If you want to see Arya, there you go. Have you been spying on me? Not intentionally, I was just surprised to see you here of all places. Right, I guess that makes sense. You're not party crashing, are you? Of course not. I came here with Ruby and Tyrion. That honestly raises more questions than answers, but I'll take your word for it. Anyways, you're looking for your birth parents, aren't you? Was I being that obvious? It's the only reason I can think of. Why else would you be trying to speak with members of the nobility? I don't know if it's any of my business, but think hard about whether this is what you truly want. Getting entangled in the aristocracy will only bring you misery. I've read your file. You have everything you could ever want. You have your mother and your friends. You even have a lover. What? You're in a relationship with Mr. Cuthbert, are you not? No, Tyrion's not my... Really, from the way you two behave around one another, I just assumed. It's pretty obvious you have feelings for him. What? How obvious? Did he seriously not notice? I think someone with his deductive reasoning skills would easily see through you. Oh yeah? What about you and Aster? I have no idea what you're talking about. Come on, I was there at Von Sanctus Manor. It's so obvious you like him. Please, you're grossly exaggerating things. He may be my fiancé, but I only have the utmost respect for him. And what if I told you he was standing right behind you? Do you honestly think I'd fall for something like that? What are you falling for? Your Highness. Hello, Lady Steelwind. Your Highness, please don't run ahead like that. Your conversation with Harold was definitely interesting, but you still find yourself with very few leads. Be it dragons or demons, the origins of the Eye of Horus will still remain a mystery. You find yourself returning to the ballroom, and you spot Celeste in the corner with some other people. Is she with Aster and Steelwind? Hey, Aster, what do you think of Steelwind's dress? It suits you very well, Miss Steelwind. You look lovely. More gibberish? Gross. As you approach the group, you're stopped by a knight from the King's Guard. He stares you down. What? Reperio Arcanum. That was the incantation for detect magic. The knight stares you up and down. Celeste hasn't cast any spells on you lately, so he shouldn't be able to see any traces of magic. Oh, Mr. Cuthbert. What was that all about? My apologies, they were making sure you weren't disguising yourself with an illusion. The King's Guard are charged with keeping us safe. They must take every precaution to protect us. Oh, and who might you be? Do not speak so familiarly with me, peasant. Alaric, don't speak to him like that. Why should I speak to him as I please? I am Prince Alaric de Wyvangard the Sixth. I will not demote myself by showing courtesy to a commoner. Doesn't he mean demean? So notice, this prince is a conjurer while the other one's an evoker. I'm terribly sorry about him, Mr. Cuthbert. It's fine. Anyways, weren't you supposed to be investigating your birth parents? Leave the poor woman alone. She started it. Right. I'm actually quite surprised to see you both here. What brings you to the Lord's Ball, Mr. Cuthbert? We were just accompanying Miss Timora. Her client has business with Lord Frega. Her client? A very, very unhappy Beatrice. Beatrice? Sadness and fear? Beatrice suddenly storms through the ballroom. She almost walks right past you before she hears Aster's voice. She looks furious. Did her discussion with Lord Frege go badly? Oh, that voice. Is that you, Aster? It really is you. She called him Aster instead of your Highness. Do they personally know each other? I'm glad to see you again. It's been quite some time. Bittersweet, I guess? Is that really all you have to say? Sorry, trying to clear my throat because you notice my voice may be giving out. So, sad and fearful? It appears you two have much to talk about. I'll be taking my leave. There's a bit of tension in the air. Celeste, we should probably get going too. Yeah. Wow, that was awkward. Yeah. I wonder how those two know each other. She's working with Miss Timor, but she somehow knows Lord Frege and the Crown Prince. Just who is she? Well, you suppose that's none of your business. Anyways, how did your investigation go? I got nothing. I think all I did was make a bunch of the nobles mad. Sorry, I know you really wanted answers, but I'm sure something will come up. You think so? It might be a little irresponsible to give her hope like this. A noble abandoned her at a tavern in a rundown village. You doubt someone like that would make themselves easy to find. Anyways, I don't want this night to be a total loss. Come on, dance with me. What? That's not really something I... Don't be like that. How often do we get to go to a party like this? Before you have a chance to object, she grabs your hand and starts dragging you to the middle of the room. You receive a few dirty looks from the aristocrats nearby. Celeste, people are staring at us. Who cares what they think? They're nobles. They're going to hate us no matter what we do. She takes hold of your other hand and begins to pull you into a waltz. So if you're not familiar, this is one of the, this would be like the box art for the game, I guess. There's probably more variants of it that we'll see as this progresses, but that's the significance of this if you haven't actually seen the game in the Steam store or something. I don't even know how to dance. I've never done this before. It's easy. Just stop being so awkward about it. That's easy for her to say. Alright, just tell me what I need to do. Well, first, here's the art. I think this is the actual one that they use on the thumbnail for the game. You need to be closer to me. With one swift motion, she pulls your body close to hers. Watch my movements and try to follow my lead. You seem to know a lot about these things. I had to do a lot of networking when I was a mercenary. Do you know how many times I had to charm a merchant into hiring me? I see. You really don't know much about her, do you? You carefully watch the position of her feet and try to match her movements. After a while, you find yourself able to match her rhythm. But you still accidentally step on her foot every few beats. She doesn't seem fazed by it. Either she's being polite or she genuinely doesn't feel anything. You're getting it, but don't focus so much on where your feet are. Just look at me. What? Come on, do it. You try to break eye contact with her, but every time you do, you slowly find yourself being drawn back into her eyes. You feel so embarrassed that you're becoming lightheaded, and you find yourself perspiring more than usual. But at the same time, you don't have any urge to break away from her. There's a comforting warmth behind all the anxiety you're feeling. There he is, the infamous Tyrion Cuthbert. Never turns away from challenging a noble, but can't dance a step to save his life. Her expression doesn't betray a hint of it, but you still detect feelings of nervousness from her. Is she just as flustered as you are? You find yourself relaxing a bit more, and you're somehow able to continue matching her movements. See, there you go. Although, what is it? You know the man is supposed to lead, right? Maybe I don't subscribe to gender stereotypes. Or maybe you just suck at this. It's been a while since you felt this calm. There's always been something that you needed to prepare for. A client that needed saving, a culprit that needed catching. But you're quite content with this one brief moment you're able to spend with her. You almost find yourself getting lost in the mood. Until you spot a familiar face, accompanied by a legion of knights. No, don't tell me. The knights storm their way toward where Beatrice and Aster are. Several of the attendees take notice. They all stop what they're doing to see what's going on. Beatrice Frege, by the authority of the Wyvern Guard Crown, you're under arrest. Did he just say Beatrice Frege? Damn it, it was just getting good. We should go see what's happening, shouldn't we? Yeah, let's go. You are completely out of line, Commander. I thought I told you to stand down. Do you not recognize who you're speaking to? Let go of Lady Frege. I can't really do that, Your Highnesses. Aster, what's going on? It's Lord Frege. He was found murdered in his study. And these cretins think that Beatrice is behind it somehow. Sorry, Your Highness, but my orders come straight from Steelwind. Lady Steelwind sent you? Beatrice takes in a deep breath and claps her hands together. I should go with them. What? No. My brother is right. They have no right to. I don't want to cause friction between you and Arya. She's always been meticulous. I'm sure she's just being careful. I'm sure I'll be exonerated once they've thoroughly investigated what happened. Okay. Only if that's what you truly want. What? You can't just let them take her away? Brother, she's correct. It is not our place to interfere with the laws of our kingdom. But, however... Yes, Your Highness? Miss Beatrice is blind. One of your knights will need to escort her. She's what? Did he just say that she's blind? So now we have the blind clue? Anyways, we're going to need to take you to a holding cell, lady. One of you should stay with her and guide her through. Please, I may be disabled, but I'm not a child. Beatrice walks past the knights and heads towards the foyer. It appears that she already knows the way out. Shouldn't you all be following her? Right. Inquisition, move out. You definitely didn't expect the night to go like this. Just what is going on here?